I swear, the hardest thing about this whole situation wasn't the rejection, but the sheer, blinding arrogance that followed when they realized just how badly they'd messed up. My own mother, the woman who raised me, texted me 4 little words that just gutted me. "We'll skip your housewarming." And the reason. The kicker was, your sister just moved too. It was a dismissal, a complete erasure of my achievement, wrapped up in a flimsy excuse that prioritized my golden child sister, Clara, as always. They thought they were skipping a little suburban cocktail party, maybe eating some stale cheese and crackers in a modest new house. They had absolutely no idea they were refusing an invitation to a housewarming party being thrown in a $6 million custom-designed sprawling villa that was about to be featured in a primetime special on HGTV, and the way their tune changed, the desperate, clawing calls that followed when the episode actually aired, the sheer hypocrisy of it all. It was a sight to behold. But it made me question everything. My entire relationship with my family, my own choices, and whether I was wrong for savoring the silence when the phone finally rang. Tell me honestly, if you were me, after years of being the ignored one, the lesser one, would you have picked up that phone? This isn't just a story about a house. It's a story about being overlooked for so long that you start to disappear even to the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally. To understand the gravity of that housewarming text, you need to understand the history, the dynamic of my family. My parents, bless their hearts, were lovely people, but they suffered from a severe, persistent case of golden child syndrome, and Clara was the patient 0. Clara was 2 years older than me, effortlessly beautiful, academically brilliant, and, most importantly, completely conventional. She followed the script. Good university, steady job, married a nice man, and bought a perfectly beige 3-bed, 2-bath house in a perfectly respectable neighborhood. My parents were obsessed. Every conversation, every family dinner, every holiday revolved around Clara's latest achievement, or more often, her latest minor inconvenience, which was treated as a world-altering crisis. I, on the other hand, was the black sheep, the creative one, the unpredictable one. I skipped college for a few years to travel and try to find myself, eventually diving headfirst into the wildly unstable world of interior design and real estate flipping. My parents saw this not as ambition, but as a flighty distraction. They constantly reminded me to get a real job and stop messing around with those old houses. They worried about my future and made it clear they didn't really believe I had one beyond scraping by every success I had, and I had many, eventually was downplayed. When I landed my first big commission restoring a historic landmark, my dad asked if it was better than minimum wage. When Clara got a minor promotion to senior associate, we had a lavish, celebratory dinner at their favorite steakhouse. The disparity wasn't just annoying. It was a constant, low-grade source of emotional pain that I learned to live with, like a stone in my shoe. The years passed and my career exploded. I had a knack for seeing potential where others saw ruin. I specialized in high-end luxury coastal properties. I'd buy dilapidated estates on prime land, completely reimagine them, and flip them for multi-million-dollar profits. I was discreet about my finances and my clients because I'd learned early on that sharing my success only led to awkward silences and my parents pivoting the conversation back to Clara's perfect life. She, by the way, was now expecting her first child and moving into a slightly larger, but still utterly conventional, 4-bed house nearby. This was the move my mother referenced in her text. My own move was something entirely different. For years, I'd been working on my passion project, a breathtaking oceanfront property that I purchased quietly. It was a complete teardown, and I spent 2 years designing and building my forever home. A modern Mediterranean-style villa with an infinity pool that spilled into the Pacific horizon, a private beach entrance, and enough smart home technology to run a small corporation. It was massive, stunning, and cost $6 million to complete, a sum I paid for mostly in cash from my previous successful flips. I had maintained complete radio silence about the details with my family. I'd simply mentioned I was moving to a new house near the coast. I didn't want the judgment, the worry, or the immediate questions about how I could possibly afford it. I just wanted them to be happy for me for once without all the baggage. The move date was set and the housewarming party planning was underway. This wasn't just any party. A major shelter magazine was covering the event. And critically, HGTV had decided to dedicate a 25-minute segment to my career and the reveal of the finished villa. Titled Coastal Crowns Villa of the Year, the filming schedule was set for the day of the housewarming. It was going to be my moment, a professional and personal milestone all in one. I sent out the invitations, which, admittedly, were very tastefully done, but didn't have the $ or the HGTV logo plastered all over them. They just stated the address, 14,500 Ocean View Drive, a prestigious address that anyone familiar with coastal real estate would immediately recognize as elite. My parents, however, lived in their own bubble. They just saw a new house and party. A few days later, my phone pinged. It was the text from Mom. "We'll skip your housewarming, your sister just moved to. It's too much hassle to do 2 parties back to back. Maybe we'll see the house later." A follow-up text added, "We're helping Clara unpack her china. You understand?" I read those messages and felt a cold knot tighten in my stomach. The hassle of seeing their own child achieve a life goal was too much, but helping the golden child unpack plates was a sacred duty. The excuse was transparent. Clara was always the priority. My new house was just a side quest they could postpone indefinitely. I typed back a simple, concise reply. "That's okay. I understand." I deleted about 20 versions of an angry retort, deciding that a simple acceptance was the best way to maintain my dignity. The reality of my achievement was about to be broadcast to millions, and their absence was a choice, one they were making with all the available information they chose to ignore. I decided right then that I would not chase them. I would not beg them to come. I would not explain the significance of the house or the HGTV crew. They had made their bed of favoritism, and now they could lie in it. The party was magnificent. The HGTV crew was professional. The magazine photographer was stellar. And all my friends, colleagues, and even a few of my high-profile clients came to celebrate. The house was a showstopper, a true testament to 2 years of relentless work and a decade of struggle. But every time a guest complimented the view or the design, a tiny, sad voice in my head noted that the 2 people whose approval I still, foolishly, craved the most weren't there. So that's the situation I was in. I had literally just moved into the home of my dreams, the culmination of everything I'd worked for, and the 2 most important people in my life had voluntarily chosen to help my sister unpack boxes instead of attending my housewarming. It was a rejection of me, not the house, because they didn't even know what they were rejecting. I had to make a choice. I could have swallowed my pride, called them up, and said, "Look, this isn't just a house, it's a $6 million villa, and HGTV is filming it. You need to be here." That's what the old me, the desperate for approval me, would have done. But the new me, the successful, self-made homeowner, felt a different kind of strength surging through me. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have dropped the bombshell and forced their attendance? Or would you have let them find out the hard way? I chose the latter. I decided to let the universe and cable television handle the big reveal. The following few weeks were quiet. My mother sent a few cursory texts asking how the move went, and I replied with short, non-committal answers like, "It was fine," or "Everything is settled." I kept up the facade of a modest move to avoid any difficult conversations. I knew the HGTV episode, which they'd titled Coastal Crowns, Villa of the Year, was slated to air on a Sunday night, just 3 weeks after the housewarming. That Sunday night felt like the longest day of my life. I didn't call them, and they didn't call me. I spent the evening with a couple of close friends, and we watched the premiere together. The segment was amazing. It showcased the architectural details, the stunning views, the sheer scale of the property, and gave a glowing account of my journey from scrappy entrepreneur to high-end designer. The final shot was of me, standing on my terrace, looking out over the ocean, giving a heartfelt thanks to my team and my loved ones. The moment the episode ended, my phone exploded. It wasn't one or two calls, it was a barrage. My mother, my father, Clara, my aunt, my uncle, everyone. My mother's name flashed repeatedly on the screen. The text messages were a chaotic mix of shock, awe, and thinly veiled panic. OMG, is that your house? That address? Is that the Ocean View property? We had no idea. Why didn't you tell us? I let the phone buzz. And buzz and buzz. The sheer volume of their belated attention was intoxicating, and simultaneously deeply saddening. They hadn't called to celebrate my move. They were calling because the world was celebrating my move, and they were left out. The first time they heard about my biggest life achievement wasn't from me, but from a television commercial. Finally, after about 15 straight minutes of ringing, I picked up. It was my mother, and her voice was a breathy mix of excitement and accusation. Honey, why didn't you tell us? We just saw the HGTV special. That house is unbelievable. $6 million. We thought you just bought a normal starter home. Why did you keep this from us? I took a deep breath. Mom, I said, keeping my voice level and calm. I told you I was moving. You chose to skip the housewarming because you were helping Clara unpack china. I didn't keep it a secret. I just stopped trying to convince you to care. There was a long, painful silence on the line, then the inevitable pivot. Well, we want to come see it now. Tomorrow, we'll cancel everything. We need to celebrate you. Why haven't you called us back? I could hear my father's anxious whisper in the background. Ask her if we can visit this week. This was my moment of truth. I could have let them back in immediately, validating their attention, seeking behavior. Instead, I stood my ground. Mom, I appreciate the thought, but I'm actually swamped with work. The HGTV exposure has created a lot of new clients, and I have back-to-back meetings all week. I'll let you know when I have a free weekend. I was polite but firm. I had become a priority in my own life, and I was no longer rearranging my world around their selective affection. My mother went into full damage control mode. She spent the next hour trying to guilt me, suggesting I was being cruel and unreasonable. Clara even called, not to congratulate me, but to ask if I could give her the name of my pool company because she was thinking of upgrading. A clear attempt to latch onto my success. The aftermath was a slow, deliberate reestablishment of boundaries. They did eventually get to see the house, but only after I invited them on my terms 3 weeks later. They were completely overwhelmed. My father kept nervously touching the marble countertops, and my mother kept asking, "How did you do this?" Not in admiration, but in disbelief that their overlooked child had accomplished something so far beyond the golden child. I kept the visit short and focused on my career, which was now undeniable. The dynamic had shifted permanently. They still favor Clara, but they treat me with a new, forced respect, a respect earned not by love, but by millions of dollars and an HGTV credit. It's a sad kind of victory, but it's a boundary nonetheless. I learned that sometimes the best way to get people to recognize your worth is to stop chasing their validation and just let your success speak volumes. Even if it requires a $6M microphone on cable television, I never got the unconditional love and support I craved, but I got the closure I needed. Their frantic, late-night phone calls after the episode aired were all the apology I would ever receive. I now know that their affection was conditional on my staying in the role of the lesser child. When I broke that mold, their true colors, a mix of envy and opportunistic interest, came shining through. The moral of this story is simple. Build your own villa, both physically and metaphorically, and if people choose to skip the housewarming, they lose the right to the grand tour later on. I wish them well, and I hope they enjoy unpacking those china boxes. Like this video if you were on my side, and think I was right to let them sweat after that text. Subscribe for more stories like this where the black sheep finally wins. And please, share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section below. Did I handle the aftermath correctly, or should I have been more forgiving? I'll see you all in the next story.